welcome to Sparkle and Chill. Hope you're doing well today. I am kitting down Poppy Field by Peggy Collins. This was a really fun kit, small, so it took just literally a couple different days of working on it. Kind of my go-between. I was working on the French Bulldog stained glass French Bulldog. I'm just going to be honest with you. The name is convoluted because I think it's French Bulldog stained glass. But because it just doesn't flow. And so I can't remember it. Something isn't working in my brain for me to remember it. So I'm kitting it down. I did something different. So I use this little refrigerator organizer for my drills, for my leftovers. And I only started collecting drills when I started doing Diamond Art Club ones because they're resin drills. And I only save the resin drills because I bought a package full of the acrylic drills by Art Dot. And so that way I've got acrylics if I'm working on budget kits and I run out of a color, and I do this so that if I should run out of a color, I've got some backups, or maybe I want to do some program later on. But honestly, it's more for the backup. I've had 2 times now where I didn't have enough drills on a kit, on a DAC kit. The first time it was of all colors 310, and I really had only run out of like I was at the very end of the painting when I ran out, and there was like 10 more drills to lay down, and I didn't have them, and I didn't want it. I had acrylic ones, but I didn't want to use acrylics on it because it had the resin drills. So the big joke is I used to go, why do people save their drills and buy all this extra stuff they don't need? Every kit comes with exactly what you need. That used to be me. Oh man. Now I've got way more stuff than I need. But I save the drills, and some people don't know, like new diamond painters can't understand why do you save your drills. The reason you save your drills is because you may need them later. You may not, but you may need them. You may be at the very, like, this kit, I had to order, it wasn't this one, it was the other one. But on my first one that was out, I was like literally at the tail end of it, and I had to like pause working on it till those colors came. I mean, I could keep working on it, but I don't like to leave it like that. So I just waited for those ones to show up because they were at the tail end of it. So what I decided to do, and so sometimes it gets really kind of frustrating to try to look for the colors while I'm kitting down, and it makes it take a really long time. So I did something different. So all of the drills that I have in, and these are only in rounds, I have not kitted down a square Diamond Art Club, so I don't have any square drills except for leftovers from doing mini kits, and those are in the specials. So I have these stickers that are all of the DMC codes, right? And so if a sticker's missing on these, it means I already have that color in a baggie. If I don't have it, then I need to make a new baggie. So I got real smart to make this not take so long. I have the stickers ready to place on the ones that I don't have, and I got out from that container all of the diamonds that I already have bags for. Instead of having to go through this while I'm filming, I'm only having to go through this small stack and then make new things, and then I'll put them in order back in the thing when I'm done. But that is my advice to you, I guess, or what's the word I'm looking for? My method to my madness on how I'm doing this. And this is the first time I realized, since I've been using just this one set of stickers, that everything that's in there if a sticker's missing, then I've got them in there already. And if I don't have a sticker, and if I do have a sticker, then I don't have a baggie made. That's just the simplest way to, while I'm at the infancy of saving drills, it's just the easiest way to do it. So I thought I would share that with you guys because it took me I'm a little slow on the uptake sometimes. It just dawned on me literally today when I was looking at this, and I'm like, I need to get this down. But it's such a, you know, going through trying to find the colors and everything, I'm like, you know, I don't want to do that, and I don't want to spend all this time. I just want to be able to throw the drills into a bag and be done. So I used to, and I have a whole jar of drills from other kits, from my budget kits, as well as some squares from, I didn't save the drills from the one, what was that, Dreamer design I did, because their drills were a bit trashy. It was, they were, I mean, the painting came out beautiful, but a lot of the drills had those little tabs on them, and they're squares, and they're just not usable, so I didn't feel like fiddling with it at that time, so I didn't. When I start my squares, when I kit down, the only big square one that I've done, which is the one I'm working on, the French Bulldog one, then I'm going to start a new set of stickers and a new thing to put them in. That way I'm not doubling up on things, if that makes sense. Anyways, I am, without further ado, I am kitting down this little baby. Isn't this pretty? I just love it. And it came out so nice. And Poppy Field by Peggy Collins. So I'm just going to have that sitting there. It's just going to fall down, I guess. And I'm going to set this, I guess, right here. This is only for the ABs and the fairy dust, because I have them in different things. So let's see. Actually, I think what I'm going to do is move this, because I no longer need this right there. Move that down. Sorry, I thought I was all ready to go. All right. So what I'm going to, and then here's some baggies for the ones that I don't have a bag already for. So I thought this would just be the easiest way to do it without having to dig through and try to find, although I've got these in a pile, I'm going to have to find what's what, but at least I'm not going through some big, huge deal trying to find it. And so this is 15 bags. This should be enough, but if not, I've got others around here someplace. So, all right. So, and let's do, okay, so the first ones is the 301s. Can you see? There, that's better. Okay. So this has been, so, and I'm looking at these, yeah, they're the, I was just, when I sat down, I was trying to think of it, because I'm like, I don't want to be digging through trying to find the baggies, and I thought, I'm just going to find the bags that are needed, and then work it that way. So, here we are. Like I said, this was a really fun kit. It really was. It was enjoyable. I'm just going to leave those in there. Small, but, oops, we missed one. It was the perfect kit to do in the time that I had for the end of the month. So today is actually the 28th when I'm recording this. This isn't going to come out until the 3rd because I've got my videos spaced. And I've got some other videos that are going to come out after that. So I'm kind of filming in batches to make sure I get things done. Yeah, so just wanted to be aware that it's okay. So, and I'm going to set that right there. This one is 3 tins. So this kit was really fun, and I'm working on, my next video is going to be my next, I'm going to unbox the next kit. I've been thinking through what I'm going to do, because, so Easter is on April 5th. So technically, to get Easter projects done, they need to be worked on during March. So what I think I might do is even take a break from working on the big Peggy Collins. This is just a thought. And then work on some Easter projects that are, you know, small budget kits. That's what I'm looking at. And so that is what I think I'm going to do. And that way the Peggy Collins one is going to reach out for a while, but I'll also add another kit. 312. See here, I have these all kind of in order. Okay, don't have a 312, so let's find the threes. 312. So I mean, I'm thinking, I don't know, I may still work on the Peggy Collins, but my thought process has been, what if I just work on the holiday ones, or the Easter ones? Because I have a couple things that I want to work on. I have a budget kit that I know I want to work on. I want to do an unboxing of a bunch of budget kits that I bought last year right after Easter. And then I have another kit that I got from Italia Diamante in her spring palette from last year that I want to do. And so I'm thinking that might be more than, you know, I want to do as far as having too much. So I might not have much time for the Peggy Collins. It might have to sit on the back burner until April, until April, when I'm done with the other 322. Okay, so I should have 322. I do. So I'm thinking that makes sense, and it gives me the ability to take a little break from the squares for just a little while, and then come back to it as soon as we're done with Easter, because I want to get a couple different kits done and have them have meaning, have them not just, I have a really cute bunny one, and then there's a really nice cross one in the Italian Diamante one that I want to do. And so I'm thinking I can start on those two, and one's a square and one's a round, and that should take me through March. And then in April I can go back to I'll go back to doing the Peggy Collins, and then find another kit as well till we get done with the Peggy Collins, which is not quite, I was hoping that I would be able to do them, you know, here's a month worth of projects, and then here's this, and I think it's just unpredictable how long it's going to take to do things, and I'm not one to put pressure on myself to get done. That's kind of why I like to do some of the smaller kits alongside the larger kits, that when I came up with that idea, and I'm doing some minis, and so just so that there's variety, and it's not the same thing every time, and there's a nice ebb and flow to things, and I kind of can get into a groove of how to do things, because this is all new to me. I've never had never done a channel where I'm trying to make sure I have, you know, content, and not just content, but good content, and have quality, quality stuff to show to people. I don't want to just, I want there to be some value to what I'm doing versus just throwing stuff out there. And I like working on, and it doesn't mean that I wouldn't start another one, but these big ones, I gotta tell you, there, I know that for some people, that kit, they don't consider a big kit. But I consider the 22 by 22 a big kit, you know. The smaller ones, the 30 by 40s, the 20, what was this one? This was a 10 by 9. Now that's a snack size kit, you know. And so that's just where I am in my journey of doing it, of doing diamond painting. I had done nothing but like really the 30 by 40s when I first started, because all the kits I was getting were on Amazon. I didn't know about Diamond Art Club in the beginning. And I certainly, at the time I started doing it, I wouldn't have been able to get them anyways, because I was home ill and had no money, you know, so it was like no way to do that anyways. $4.98. $4.98. Where's $4.98? $4.72. Okay, where's $4.98? $4.98. There's no $4.98. $4.20. It ends at, I would assume $4.73, but maybe that's a $4.98. $8.98. Okay. Let me pause a minute. I'll be right back. Okay, we're back. There is a $4.98. I was like, how did I miss that? And it happened to be right on top, so it was easy to find. That's always good. I didn't want to spend a lot of time digging through something, have you guys sit there going, what is she doing? Anyhow, that's my plan. Easter is, I think, going to be fun. It'll be a couple small kits plus my butterfly and now the dog kit. So I've kind of added another mini to it. And I'm really liking that. I like the pace of that because it just gives me, you know, 606. It just gives me a little bit better or different way of doing things. Gives me variety, gives you variety, and it, 606. Okay. And it's, you know, it's fun to do that. Breaks things up. Like I said, sometimes when you're working with large paintings, you need those little paintings just to kind of give you a breather from some of the big ones. Although, when I was working on I'm Not Fat, I'm Fluffy, that was so fun. It just kind of flew by. That was also a round, though. And so rounds are... So I should leave that in there. I'm dumping all these in, but I've got plenty. Okay. So, oh, I didn't take that off. I do love the Diamond Art Club stickers. They come off so nicely. They don't make a mess on your bottles. They just peel right off. 733. And this is working exactly the way I hoped it would. If I don't have it in a baggie, then there is a sticker. I did not sleep good last night. I'm kind of tired. You know, when you wake up, you know, and it's Saturday, so I don't really have to wake up at any one time. So, but I woke up and I was so sleepy. You know, that heavy, your eyes are heavy and you kind of feel like you're in a dream or something. That's how my morning started. But I needed to get up. And so I've been kind of dragging all day. I think I stayed up too late this last week. Not just last night, but this whole last week I've been staying up too late, and it's got to stop because Lord willing, I'll be starting work within the next couple of weeks. And I don't have a job lined up yet, but I will. I will. I'm confident in that. It's just been hard to get interviews, but if I don't find something in the next couple weeks, then I'll go into an agency and sign up for temp work. And like I said, the only reason I haven't done that yet is because of it messing up in unemployment. Then you gotta report work that you're doing, and oftentimes it just doesn't. You're going back and forth, and it messes up your unemployment. So I've just said, I can't do that. It's just too unreliable. And so what I will be doing is going and signing up and just doing whatever comes my way. And God is good. He always provides. I've never, when I worked as a nanny, when I started out my career, I was a nanny for, over 20 years. And in the beginning, I used agencies, right? A particular agency here in town, they have since gone out of business, which is so sad. Otherwise, I'd just call them and get work. Because I knew the director and everything real well, and it was pretty easy to just call and say, hey, I'm available. And she always had work for me. I was never not busy. And so it was very easy to be out of work then. I never even applied for unemployment when a job ended. Jobs end when you're in childcare. Jobs end for a lot of reasons. 8:14. I should have 8:14. Okay, let's pause again. Okay, I'm back. Like I thought I pulled all of them out. When you do temp work through nanny agencies, it's a great gig because you get a call in the morning, and the parents, for one reason or another, something's happened and their child care fell through, or the nanny didn't show up, or whoever was originally planned. Basically, you come in and save the day. And it's a great gig. It really is. It's really a good everybody loves you because you're coming in to save the day. And it's just I only a couple times did I have situations that were not great. One family that I worked for. Okay, so if you have kids and you have to hire nannies and you're home. I typically don't take jobs when parents are home, and not because I don't like parents or I'm going to do anything wrong, but because children act differently when mom and dad are in the other room. They're more difficult to deal with. They don't, what was that? 8:17. 8:17. Kids they don't act the same way. I just did that. Never mind. Kids don't act the same way. They tend to do things that they wouldn't do if their parents weren't there, because you have a little bit more control with them. They feel, they obey better. And we all know that, most of the time kids obey better. They obey other people better than they do their parents. That's no fault of the parents. That's every kid, just about. I don't think I've ever worked for a family where mom and dad come home, or they come home and the kids go from being little angels to suddenly just not behaving very well because mom just walked into the door or dad just walked in the door, and now all of a sudden, the whole world has, changed, and they don't know who to listen to. And oftentimes it's a power play. They want to, play you against the parents. It's really weird, but it happens in every single scenario I've ever worked in. And the parents are always, how do you get them to behave so well? And it's not so much that I do anything so different. It's just that we all have different sets of rules and what we put up with and what we don't put up with. I tend to be a no nonsense, very fun person. My kids all liked me. I had a lot of fun with the kids I took care of, but I didn't put up with nonsense or misbehavior, and they all knew it. And so they were generally very, very good for me. And then the parents are like, "How come I can't do that?" And I'm like, "You can. You just have to demand it of them. They're capable of doing the right thing. They just choose not to because they don't have to, and they know it. If you don't, if your no doesn't mean no, then they're gonna walk all over you and they're gonna get their way. If they know your no means no, they're gonna do what you tell them to do. Most of the time. I'm not saying they were always perfect with me, but they generally. I had the last family I worked for, I had twin little boys. I had them for 5 years. They were great. I loved them so much. They were so good, and they were good for me. Their mom was like, she was like, did not like to be alone with them because she couldn't. She just didn't know how to really deal with two babies because she worked full time. She was really good with her kids. She had more patience than I could ever dream of, but mostly she had to have those patience um, because she didn't demand them to behave themselves. 31. Yep, there we go. And she'd always say to me, what could I do? Well, and I lived out for the first 2 years, 3 years I took care of them. In the last 2 years I lived with them. Just some things happened and I ended up moving in with and living in the bonus room. And at night she would tell the boys, "I'm going to send Kimberly in there." It was pretty funny. I'm like, yeah, make me the bad guy. But the good thing was that they were a great family to work for because they backed me up. If I was there and I did any kind of discipline, they backed me up. You heard her. There was no, where I've worked for families where they don't back you up when you're there, and then the kids, they know when mom and dad are there, they don't have to listen to you. I used to just give up. I didn't even try if the parents were home because they weren't going to listen to me anyways, and it was just an exercise in futility. And so, where was I going with this? So working temp service was always a great thing. And you come in, you save the day, and I know one of the things I was saying. If you have kids and you hire a sitter, if you're there, just know that if that person is having a hard time, it's because you're there. And it's it's because the kids don't know who's in charge, and so they'll try to push buttons to figure it out. And most of the time, as long as if you're backed up by the parents, it's not a problem. But if you're not, and when you're a new person coming in and they don't know you, like a temp nanny, it's really difficult. I had this one family I worked for once. Nice lady. The kids were good, but they were kids. They don't understand why was I there when mom was home, and they lived in this great big house, and you'd have them and they were like in one room, and then you all of a sudden they'd be gone and you're like, where did they go? And then you go find them and they're in with their mom who's trying to rest, and I'm like, I'm so sorry. And then it makes you look bad because they snuck away. Yeah, that was a frustrating thing. So I don't know. Nowadays it's gotten so difficult to do nanny work, and the way to go about doing it is so much different. The typical agencies don't really exist anymore. Care.com came in and kind of erased a lot of that, which is unfortunate. I mean, it's great for some people, but it's really hard because nobody's been vetted, on either side. I mean, yeah, you get a background check done, but nobody's interviewed you. Nobody's, part of why an agency is important is because you have somebody who's experienced in what people are looking for, and who have high standards of who they would allow to be part of their agency. and you remove that whole protection, right? Um, and so the only thing you have to go by is what that nanny's telling you, and nobody's really gone through and asked them the tough questions and really gone through stuff that maybe you as a parent wouldn't know to ask, that are basic stuff for a nanny agency and people in the nanny industry. But you might not think to ask those questions, and maybe you're not looking for that, but there's just a higher chance of you getting somebody who's been vetted. I mean, if they've used you over and over again and their families that you've gone to have raved about that person, you can be sure that that person's probably can do a pretty good job. When you're dealing with an app, I don't really know how that works. 3341. I don't know how that works for you. I mean, I'm sure it obviously it does. People use it. It's just a foreign concept to me. I went on there and I had a hard time even figuring out how to use the app to get myself completely on it. I was able to get it on I couldn't get it on my phone because I don't have all the features on the phone that you need, but I had it on my tablet, but then I couldn't figure out how to get it to work, to actually set everything up. So I canceled it, and I'm like, well, I don't know how to do that. And then there aren't any really, at least that I found, good agencies in the area. I need to look into that more, because it is a great temp job type thing. If you wanted to do temp services, you could do pretty good just being a temp. And the great thing, that what I love about doing the temp work, is that I could pick and choose when I worked. I could say, okay, I'm going to work this day, and this way. And yeah, some days they're not going to call. They don't always call but I never had a problem. If I was on the roster that I was available, I was getting work of some kind that day. And they had a 4-hour minimum. So if by chance somebody didn't need me for a full day, I was at least going to get a half day in, and at good wages. So that's what I like about it. So if you're that, and then when I did I found a couple families that I worked for outside of the agencies, that I met through Craigslist and stuff like that back in the day. And I kept the same rules. I just did the same thing that the agencies did. I'm like, oh, the agencies have a 4-hour limit. I have a 4-hour limit. I'm not working for less than 4 hours of wages. And I forgot I had set that up. I mean, that's just what I did. And a friend of mine went and took care of some kids for a lady that I worked for, that I had worked for several times. And she said, she paid me for 4 hours. She said she knew that was my minimum. Where did she get that from? I'm like, oh, I just use nanny agency rules. I'm not going to somebody's house for an hour and a half or 2 hours. I don't have time for that. I need to get paid if I'm going to take a job. If I take your job and I pass up another job and I didn't at least get 4 hours, I'm losing money, And people understand that. I was in a pretty well-to-do area. It's not like it was, so that's how I did it. But I don't know how I got on this subject, but 3826. I do like this, is making this much easier to do. You guys, I found a system here. Before I was like digging through them while I was doing it, or just dumping them into baggies and then having to sort it out later. And I like this much better. Use the same book of stickers, because there's only these colors. I mean, other than you might have to make labels for 6,000s, for things that are in the 6,000, because those are just Diamond Art Club. And then when I get to specials, I put those in here. For now anyways, till I get these filled up, and then we'll see what it is. Okay, let's take this off. See how these stickers, they come off so well. I don't like the other ones. I mean, even mine that I make, my little, this is an AB, and this is AB 972. Do I have AB 972? I think I do. Yep. Whoa. Okay. Well, I guess I'm gonna have to do my little sheets again because I've been dropping them all in. Okay. Z666. No, I know I have it in the squares, but I'm not. So what I do with these, so because these stickers come off so well, I've just been able to stick it on. And where's the scissors? Cut that part off. I don't need that. It's never gonna be the same symbol again. It's just the color, but that works. Oh, and I put it in there and didn't put the beads in yet. Da, 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 da. Okay. Quite a few of these specials left. Okay, then I just put that up. And I didn't take this one off. Now they don't stay on very well when they're secondary, but my thought process is as those start to fall off, I'll put new ones on. I'll make some labels, but those fit those jars pretty good. And I'm probably going to move those into baggies once I get going on it. Z803. This isn't. And there's just one more color and we're done. This is nice. Well, this kit, like I said, was very fun to work on. It was, you know, in comparison to working on the squares, I breezed through this. Obviously, it's a very small kit, but it just went so. Let's see, 947. It just went so fast, which I was thankful for, because, you know, when you've been working on one that's really a slow process, because I haven't single placed in quite a while, probably at least a year that I have not really done single placing. And you kind of have to with squares. At least I do. I know that people do it, but I think I'm not there yet. And maybe by the end of this painting, I'll be there. Maybe by the end, it won't be so bad, but it's a really tight grid. And so it makes it a little harder to do. I bought these thinking these would be something to kit up in, but they're too small and they're kind of hard to use, so they work good for this. Voila! We are done. There is, and so there's still a lot of stickers, a lot of these to do. These stickers I bought on Amazon, and they've really make it much easier. My handwriting is terrible. This makes them really nice and easy to do. And yeah, so now all I'll have to do is go and stick those in based on the numbers. And I just go by, I have like 300s in one thing, 400s in the next, and you know, up the thing so that's easy to find them. And try to put them in order, and then they end up working. And I didn't even use 15 bags. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I used 10 bags. That's pretty cool. I used just 10 bags. So there's 5 left. So that's a good way to understand. People always say, so why do they give you the 15 bags? And I think this is why. I mean, most people are, if you're saving your drills, you start out with, you know, however many are left in one kit, and then the next kit you add to it, and the next kit you add to it, and so on and so forth. I don't kit up in these because working out of baggies is sometimes a little bit of a nightmare. When I work on the diamond, the one kits, they're the squares that I got from Diamonds on Canvas, or Diamond, oh, I can't remember the name of it, but it doesn't matter. She closed down the company right as she changed the name. I mean, she changed the name like a month before. So I bought them as Diamonds on Canvas. And when I did those, she has them kitted up already, and it was really nice. And they were the little baggies, and I just worked right out of those baggies for that particular kit because I hadn't done squares, and it was a small kit. It's a little smaller than a 30 by 40, the actual drill fill, and they're really cute. I'm going to be working on one of those here in the next, by next week. I don't know if that video is what, so this video will come up, so I just got one scheduled for the 3rd, so this will probably go out about the 6th, and then the next one would be a couple days after that. So I'm trying to do 2 to 3 a week, so it'll depend on what's going on. I am going to be doing the unboxing. I have 2 unboxings, one for the kits that we're going to be working on, and then unboxings of the second part of the Lua Art Pixel small kits I got. I'm going to do that in 2 more sections because there's kind of a lot to go through. And so I'll do 5 kits and then 5 kits, and I'll have those done. And I'm working on the dog ones. That's the one with the little beagle. But I bought, originally I bought 5 sets of those, and then Diamond Painting with Coco was talking, and she had bought them, and she found them on a great sale. And it was, the price point was too good to pass up, so I ordered like 10 kits. But there's no way to go through 10 all at once. So, but that was a really inexpensive 10 kits, because I think it came down to, I already had girl math. I had money on my Amazon account because of some returns that I had done. And so I only spent, I want to say like $15 cash out of my wallet. So I thought of it like, you know, not only were they at a good price, but I didn't really have to come out of pocket with anything because that money had already been spent. So that was good. I had gotten some stuff around my birthday, and I had sent a bunch of it back because it just wasn't what I had envisioned it was going to be. And actually one of the things was a food product. It was like $42. And it was opened when I got it. So I took pictures, sent it in, and they refunded my money. And so that was a good thing. And so I had that. I had already used like $10 of that. I think I ended up spending, yeah, not a whole lot. I can't remember what the amount was. But anyways, thank you for watching. I know that we've been talking, oh, not too long. It's only, oh, actually, because I paused a couple times, so I'm not thinking it's as long as it was. I will see you when I see you. The next this video will come out, and then another one will come out after that, and after that, and after that. Just kidding. If you like this video, please hit the like button. If you haven't subscribed, why not? It doesn't cost anything. It just, all it means when you subscribe is that you liked the video enough that you'd like the content to show up in your feed. And basically what that means is when I post something, it might come up in your hey, you might want to watch this kind of thing. So and then if you want to make sure that you don't miss anything, you can ring the little bell. If you've made it to the end of this video, please put a flower in the comments, and maybe tell me what if you're diamond painting, what diamond painting are you working on right now? All right, have a great day. Bye now.